Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast. Today is February 8th, 2023. Yes, the beginning really of the second week of February 2023. Where is time gone? With us today, we have special guests. We have Jessica and Justin Woodbeck of Thrive Realty in Troy, Michigan, along with our panel of Becky Alley, Lisa Lawson. Becky Alley being top 1% of all originators in the United States. Lisa Lawson being the Google of capital mortgage funding. She is the be-all, end-all. We don't hit Google. We just hit Lisa Lawson. I'm Harry Glantz. Been doing this a few weeks now. But anyways, special guest, Jessica and Justin Woodbeck of Thrive Realty. Guys, glad to have you on the podcast. We really appreciate you being here.
Yes, thank you, Harry.
Super glad to be here.
Yeah, great. So let me hear this. So I think you guys have a very unique story to tell. Both of you have really different backgrounds in real estate. Jessica, you work for GM. You were a great negotiator for GM. Justin, you were a Detroit public safety officer, common known as a cop. You're a cop in Detroit, serving the citizens of Detroit, the community. And then all of a sudden, guys, I got to hear the story. Somebody woke up and said, hey, I want to do real estate. So take us from that point when you guys were in your careers and then you made the life-changing, career-changing decision. When did it hit you?
Yes. So I actually took the plunge first, shocker. I was at GM and I'm a people person, and in corporate America and in automotive and the division I was in, that was definitely not a skill they wanted me to have. And so I migrated towards part-time real estate just to kind of fulfill that side of my skill set. And in 2013, we were pregnant with our second child. I was about 7 months pregnant. I'm sitting in my cubicle, horrible light, Becky, just like you're experiencing right now.
It's so bad.
And I said, you know what? I called my husband. I was the breadwinner because he was a, servant
Detroit cop.
leader.
Didn't get paid much.
Right. And so I called him and I said, you know what? We're about to have the second baby. I think I'm going to quit my job. And he was like, let's have dinner first.
1 second. Yeah, 1 second.
Hold on. I think it was a couple months later, I ended up quitting my corporate job and going full-time into real estate, almost about to pop out our child. And so I said, I didn't think about that. I think you should get licensed too, because we're about to have this baby. And so fast forward after years of, kind of part-timing and going back and forth with how do we make this thing work, we decided to form our company. And that was in 2014 for the two of us. We really started branding and really treating it like a business, not just a part-time gig. And then in 2020, during COVID, like any sane people, we decided to launch our independent firm.
While the world was shut down.
I love that. And that's so cool. And Becky, why don't you expand on that, the energy when you go into their office, what it's all about. And I love the story, the fact, how many years have you guys been married?
10.
Yeah, 10 and a half.
7, yes.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. I've got a similar story, but that's for a different time. But Becky, when you go into their office and you feel that vibe, and it seems to me it's a really together, really on the same page, high energy, let's just go kind of situation, right?
I've been very fortunate to actually be witness to, they put their money where their mouth is, like literally the things that they are putting out on social media. It really is what it is here. I just was fortunate enough to sit in one of their office meetings and people are crying at someone else being a top producer and, their moments of success. Everyone leaves the room with a piece of somebody else, and they're not just coworkers here. They really are family, and the culture that Jessica and Justin have cultivated here is a testament of what their team is going out and putting into the world. And, I was at their Emerald Ball, their third annual one, and it takes guts to move and not be frozen in fear. So when everyone else was shutting down and frozen, look, they started their own business when everyone was frozen in fear. They were acting in faith, that what they had was so, like, it was almost like a disservice that they did not get it out to the world. And it has just been, the Yellow Brick Road has just been laying before them. And I say that from witnessing it. I mean, it really is one of the most beautiful things that you see when you walk into an office, and where other people, their offices are shrinking. This place is getting bigger, and their numbers are really starting to show. But all that is because of the family dynamic, and they have really great listening skills. They listen to what their peers are doing, and they help them achieve their goals. And if they're not, they hold them accountable. They're very listening, but they're also gonna be like, listen, you can do better. Like, get out there and freaking hustle. And that's awesome to be around people like that.
Yeah, I really think you have to feel it. And Lisa, I'm going to bring you in a second, but I want to ask Justin and Jessica the following. I feel this because I'm a feel kind of person too. I don't really pay attention to. I don't paint by numbers. Okay, I just don't. It's really a feeling that I have for people, and I love people. I like working with people, and want to give people the ability and the vehicle to succeed. And it is like a family, because you really got to like the people that you work with. So I'm feeling from you guys that when you decided to start this in 2020, and 2020 is going to go down as one of the craziest years in the history of our country. But you guys you didn't think twice, right? You don't think about it, and you don't even look back and you say, maybe sometimes you do, but probably rarely, how and why did we do this in a crazy time? You just said, we're going to do it. We're not going to look back. We're going to look present and then build something for the future. And you just did it really without giving it 3 or 4 thoughts. Am I right, or am I just totally off base?
Yeah, no, that's correct. We were not, this was not a foregone conclusion. It wasn't something we discussed for months and months and deliberated on. We were in a rapidly pivoting world. We woke up one day in the middle of March, and all of a sudden we found out that 1 week later, the state was going to get shut down. And so that was the beginning of all the pivoting that we had to do as an organization. At that time, we were under a big box brokerage, which was great. We had a great relationship there, but I equate it to being on a cruise ship. It holds a lot of people. There's a lot of things to do, but you think of how cruise ships turn. And when there's an iceberg ahead and it needs to navigate those waters, we need to be in a speedboat. And so we made a decision very quickly. And I think it was literally a matter of about a month from start to finish, from we need to do this to when it was done, was when we launched our brokerage.
Yeah, I want to say that. I use that analogy a lot. I don't want to be on a ship that's going to hit the Titanic, or a Titanic that's going to hit the iceberg. I don't want to be on that. I like being a speedboat as well. I like having and being able, with Lisa, with Becky, with our entire team, being able to navigate waters and turn very, very quickly. And because the waters are ever changing, I'm going to bring Lisa in here. And why do we call Lisa Lawson the Google of our office? Lisa loves to dive into the minutia and then go ahead and educate while running very fast. So Lisa, you heard a little bit about Jessica and Justin's story. It's kind of like, what you do here. We're always on call. We always answer our phone. We always try to have the answers. But Lisa, if we don't have the answers, and I'm speaking for you now, but I want to tell your story, you'll go to the end of the earth to find the correct answer. Not just to give some stupid opinion. You'll have a basis for your answer, correct?
Yeah, so it's funny, years and years ago when I started in this business, I'm the kind of person that needs to know the answers. I need to understand why I'm putting a file together. I want to know, if someone tells me there's 6 ways to do it, I'm going to show you that there's 10 ways to do it. And I need to know all the ins and outs in order to do that. So I remember when I started in this business and I went through this little training and I was asking the trainers all these questions and they really didn't have answers for me. And finally they gave up and they literally said, here, we're just going to give you these books. And they were the guidelines for FHA and Fannie Mae. And I said, can I take them home? Because they're huge. And they said, well, maybe, but can you bring them back after the weekend? Well, I couldn't do all of them, but I went through the entire FHA book. It was the first one I started with, read the entire thing cover to cover. And it gave me understanding of how to put loans together, why we do what we do. It's very hard to sell if you don't have the why you're doing it, right? So And I think, it's the nerd in me, and I'm okay. I'm a self-proclaimed nerd. I own it. It's fine. I want to know all the ins and outs. So for me, that's how I started. Everybody's got a story, and that was mine. And I still am to this day. The reason why they call me Google is, a new guideline came out, a new update. I'm the one reading it. I'm the one saying, hey, this is important. Becky's a busy girl. Sometimes like, Becky, you need to know this, and I'll forward it to her. I want to make sure that we're all at our absolute best. It's not just me, we're a team. And, I think that the team atmosphere here is imperative to our success. And I think that knowledge is power. Everyone says that. And I truly believe that, but it also gives you options. So when you don't have understanding, you usually feel stuck. And that's even when buying a home, right? You go in, you show someone a home, they think this is their only option. Well, they don't know there's, 5 kinds of renovation loans that we can do, through a purchase transaction. And so there's always options, and you just have to have the education and the knowledge behind it and the people to kind of pull you through.
That's right. Okay. So that is why, hold on. Like, I just got to say this. This is why I follow Lisa to any dumpster fire that is a mortgage, there's a mortgage involved, because we are in line in that aspect, because we sell the problems we solve, not rates and products, because you have to know the why. What is their pain point that people are trying to avoid? Why are people needing to move? Why do they have to refinance? And it's those active listening skills that you can develop over time that people don't really practice, that allow you to excel in this business if you know how to use those tools. Like, I did an article, I'm being featured in an article, and they asked me, what is your most valuable tool? And my response was myself. I am the biggest asset versus any social platform or CRM, because if I am not putting the proper platform in front of our clients to make sure that they have a unique, special experience, then what the heck does it matter if I'm using social media or videos or YouTube or whatever it is, if I'm not meeting them where they need me to be?
Yeah, I that's just the way it is. And Jessica and Justin, I want to ask you this question about really your responsibilities at Thrive. Okay, you've amassed such great talent. You've got a very nice team there. I want to say it's probably close to 50, if not over 50 people there that I counted, or in that area. Justin and Jessica, we in this business, if you're not in it 24/7, 365, and I know that sounds cliche, but even if you're off on a deserted island in the middle of the Pacific, you're still thinking about business with your family, with your kids. We just do it all, okay? And I get that, because I'm that guy too. I want to know how you guys divide the responsibilities in the office as to who's doing what, when you're doing it. And look, I get it. It just works. But somebody's got to go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to do this, you do this. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's we get this question a lot, right? The husband, wife, how do you work together every day and then go home and raise kids together? For sure, there are role divisions within our company. We have to. So we're sitting at about 66 people today. We have 10 staff members. I am the CEO, so I oversee our staff and the business at large, and Justin is our chief revenue officer. So in layman's terms, we sit in our strength zones, and we make sure that the crossover there as husband and wife, because we know each other intimately, that we stand in each other's weaknesses. So it doesn't mean he couldn't do the things I'm doing. I just might do them 1% better. And it's the same. Well, no, I couldn't do what he does. He's in numbers all day long, and that is something that would kill me slowly. So that's what we do. We understand that the other person has veto power. So that's something that we surrender to very clearly. Like, if it is in his lane, if it's for him to decide from the broker level to the chief revenue officer level, then, I'm all ears, and that's the way it goes. And the same for what I do and what I have to decide on a daily basis.
Yeah. And
I love that.
Yeah. We failed at that miserably at first. We had to get it wrong before we ended up getting it right.
We hired a coach specifically around, like, how do you work with your spouse? Yeah. This is hard.
Well, I can tell you from experience, my wife is much smarter than I am, and it's probably not even close. I couldn't work together. I couldn't work with her because she wants my job. So therefore, I would be unemployed because she would fire me because she could do it a lot better. So I'm just letting you
There you
know
go.
from that. Let's get into the current market. I want to talk about current market stuff. And I want to ask you right now, where do you think we are now? Where do you see the market right now? What's going on? I want to hear your take on the current market.
Yeah, the market actually, if you were to ask me that question 2 weeks ago, I would have had a pretty boilerplate answer for you, but it's been doing some really interesting things throughout January that we weren't really expecting. So we're seeing a significant uptick in buyer business right now. Number of transactions is going up, number of pendings is going up, active listings are all going up, which are all really good signs. Normally we see that this time of year, but not usually as strongly as we're seeing it this year. So it's shaping up to be a pretty interesting spring.
Yeah, Becky, you know where we're at. We're pretty busy. Our pulse says it's really busy, and I concur with you, Justin. I think, it was dead for maybe, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 days, and then all of a sudden it exploded. Becky, our pulse says it's really busy with buyers again outnumbering sellers. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, for sure. I mean, there was this 2-week window in the beginning of the year where there was just enough of a decline where buyers could really take advantage of concessions. There wasn't a lot of over asking. But at the same time, it was truly a seller's market. It wasn't just one thing. It was concessions. It was over asking. It was under asking. And then there was just this flip in the last 2 weeks of January, which was probably the longest month of the year, I swear. It was like a year in itself. But there was this flip, and you're seeing that now where there is a surge of buyers like Justin is talking about. And I have multiple buyers. They are writing daily, continuously. Sometimes they're even getting to the point where they're writing 2 a day and they're getting beat out, and they are very strong, well-qualified buyers. But you're seeing cash come in. You have these other investors from the outside coming in because Metropolitan Detroit, I mean, it is very desirable, and it's one of the few still affordable metropolitan areas. I mean, it's not overpriced like New York and Colorado, for example. And so people from California are coming in and they're gobbling up the real estate. But 81% of the business right now is made up by purchases, and you're starting to see that mirroring similar to what the numbers were doing in 2018 and 2019 when the rates were a little bit higher. So in 2018 rates were high 5 or low 5s, mid 4s you could get at that point. But you're seeing that it's very similar as far as the tracking of the numbers. And because obviously the last 2 years were fake, and 2022 was a correction of some sorts. But definitely this spring is coming early per usual the last 5 years that we've seen in Michigan. And buckle up buyers, because it's going to be bumpy, but who you align with is going to lead to your success all day long in these kind of markets.
Yeah, Lisa Lawson, again, our feeling is that it's going to be really busy with buyers outnumbering sellers again. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, just to reiterate what Becky said, spring is going to be busy, and spring came early. Not only is it like 45 today, it's going to be 50 something tomorrow. My pipeline is filled with pre-approvals. I've got clients coming every 2 yesterday. I've got 3 today, appointments coming saying, I want to buy a house. I waited for what they thought everything settled down. They didn't want to be part of that insane rat race. And unfortunately, they're going to have a little bit of a rat race. It might not be quite as long. You might not have to make 15 offers before one gets accepted, but it is busy, and I think they're sick and tired of standing by the sidelines, watching everybody else get in these homes and watching everybody else move, and they're ready. So I've been insanely busy. And I know Becky has too. I think everybody here has. And I think, as soon as these people find properties, it's going to be off and running.
Yeah. Hey, Justin and Jessica, I want to ask you this question. Okay. And this is my feeling. I'm not speaking for anybody else in the entire mortgage universe. I'm just speaking for myself here. My feeling, and I get ramped up about this, my feeling that it's going to be another season again of overbidding as inventory is still really low. That's just the vibe that I'm getting being on the street. And again, like you, we eat, sleep, and drink this business. We're out there every day. We're not just sitting behind a desk drinking coffee, eating donuts. That's not our style. We don't do that. I'm feeling well, here, have a Starbucks on me. Anyways, I just feel, and I'm the vibe is it's going to be another selling season, overbidding, inventory is still going to be low. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and that, it's a great question, Harry, because I agree with you largely. I think it's not going to be as bad as we saw in 2021. Coming out of 2020 through 2021, I don't think it's going to be quite as fierce, because what we were dealing with back then is historically low listings. We had no houses to sell. We're seeing right now on the real estate side, the number of listings has increased 30% month over month. So from December to January, 30% increase in listings. And that is in line now with more historical averages. So we're dealing with an average listing market with an over or surplus of buyer demand. So there are more listings per buyer out there right now than there were, let's say, a year ago. So I don't think it's going to be as fierce, but it is going to be a challenge for buyers without a doubt.
All right, let me ask you
I
this.
think-
So home prices here, Jessica, home prices up, down, or stable? Up, down, or stable? Up, down, or stable? What do you think?
Stable. I say stable, for sure, stable. And what I think what we're seeing from the buying and the selling side is that both parties have an opportunity to negotiate finally, which is wonderful to see. We're seeing where we actually are seeing a skill set issue across the board, because we work with a lot of nationwide brokers, is the skill set in agents is showing up in inspection. So we're seeing a lot more mutual releases during inspection than we've seen in years.
Yeah.
And that is a skill set piece for realtors. So I think if there's anything I can say is buyers and sellers have a little more at bats to have a more equal transaction rather than one side holding all the cards, which is nice. However, with the inventory still being average, buyers still having a more demand, rates being a little volatile, we're going to have overbidding, we're going to have multiple bidding. So that's not slowing down for us over here.
Yeah, if we stay on the trend of the last 2 weeks or so, it is going to fall in the favor of the sellers again by the time we get to spring.
Yeah. So Becky, remember how the last two podcasts and last two shows, my favorite question is as follows, and I'll give it to Justin and Jessica too. Sellers, more demanding or less demanding right now?
Yeah, so they're coming around. Q4 of last year definitely gave a lot of sellers out there a bit of a wake-up call. Sellers have a very selective memory when it comes to examples that they're using to formulate their opinions around their sale. My neighbor sold, and they sold for $100,000 over list price. And that was 2 weeks ago. You look and it was 10 months ago, and now we're in a completely different market. So they are learning. However, if we continue on this path, in 3 months, they're going to forget again, and they're going to be back in the position of wanting the world. And, but right now, a lot of sellers are actually conceding to the reality of where they're at. It just took a lot of time to get them there.
Yeah. Reality, Becky, let's talk about reality. Talk about
Whose reality, mine or yours?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's talk about your reality right now. What's going on?
Listen, I've been waiting for a market like this. I'm not going to lie. This is what Jessica mentioned. It is a very skill-based market, and the ones that got in the business thinking that it was easy, congratulations, it's not. The last 10 years has been a refinance market, pretty much, where as an industry as a whole, we've done a really good job getting everyone out of those subprime mortgages. And anyone that got in the business the last 10 years, all they've ever known was these really amazing rates. At the highest, it maybe, got the mid fives for a moment in time. And then, the silver lining was COVID, and COVID happened. Silver lining was amazing rates. So now we're in this moment where it's for our side, it's advice over price. You really have to adhere to what people are wanting, they're needing. What are their motivations? 63% of mortgages right now are under 4%. Does that mean people are never going to buy a house again? No, it doesn't. It's educating. How can they leverage, and that move up buyer? How are we going to leverage the property to build that real estate portfolio? What are we going to take them to the next house? And Justin mentioned something in their meeting that, based off their stats, are saying 2 out of every 3 sellers are actually buyers as well right now.
Yeah,
so
about 2 out of 3 buyers. Yeah, 2 out of 3 buyers bringing a listing with them to the market.
Yeah, so I want to nerd out on you. Since I'm a numbers nerd too, and I'm a nerd like Lisa, I like to read everything that comes across my desk. I read about 5 papers a day. Yes, I still read a paper, everybody. It goes like this for me. 1981, 82, rates were anywhere from 16, 18%. People still bought houses. Fast forward to 1988, rates were 12, 13%. People still bought houses. Right now, rates are 6.5, 6.75 in that range. You tell me, people are still gonna buy houses. Let's throw out 2020, 2021. Those were the outliers. Get back to 2017, 18, 19. Fast forward to now, 2023. That is my reality, Becky Alley. This is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Our special guests are Jessica and Justin Woodbeck of Thrive Realty in Troy. They're awesome realtors. They're awesome people. They've got a great family and team behind them, but also they're great entrepreneurs. They started their business world really that they built right now in less than 3 years. They started in 2020 when the world was on fire, everybody. But I respect that a lot because there are a lot of reasons that you start a business. And the reason that you start a business and you partner up with people is because you just want to be with like-minded individuals that want to provide the best service. And we have two of the best LOs in the country. And they're not even loan officers. We don't sell anything. We help a lot of people. And Lisa, why don't you talk about the Mishta program? Because we believe that that gets a lot of people in homes that would never be able to get into a home, along with FHA as well.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, Mishta has multiple programs within itself. It doesn't always mean that you get down payment assistance. I have one right now where they're getting a really great rate, 5.875. They don't need the assistance because they've saved money by living with their parents for a very long time. But why not offer somebody that lower rate? And in this case, they're getting much lower mortgage PMI because it's also subsidized. It's a lower coverage, so lower payment. It makes no sense to just get somebody into a regular conventional, one of these other programs at a higher rate, at a higher PMI, leading to a higher payment. Makes literally no sense. So if you qualify, it's not always about needing the assistance, although that's always available. People rent all the time, and sometimes they have a hard time establishing a savings to really get that money they need to get into the house because they've been renting and they needed a house maybe with 3 bedrooms for their family, and they just don't have it, the few $1,000s that they would need to get in, or the 10,000, 12,000, depending on whatever. Mishta helps with that. They have multiple programs, and not just Mishta, but there's the Chenoweth Fund. There's National Faith Home Buyers. A lot of local organizations and cities have down payment assistance programs. So give us a call. Don't think that it's a no just because you don't have, any money saved. It could just mean that we're going to use one of those programs to help you get in. Tax refund money is coming soon. Sometimes it's all you need.
Yeah, Becky, I want to go to you now on this. A lot of talk on the market. Federal Reserve came out last week, and there's all this Fed talk. And look, at having done this for a long time with you and with Lisa, we just think it's a bunch of noise. I mean, the Fed comes out, they say something, the market goes up, the market goes down. They've been raising rates now 8 times within the last year, starting last March, I believe. Rates right now, Becky, rates are stable. Job market is very strong. Inflation is coming down. The stock market has rallied. The economy is picking up. What does that really mean? To me, you know what? It's a bunch of noise. We're going to go about our day-to-day business just doing what we do. To me, I'm tired of the Fed talk. What about you?
We are in a people business, and that really is what is on the frontier of everything that we do. Unfortunately, though, people come out and they're very reactionary, right? Someone says something negative, and negativity has a tendency to bring you down. It's easier to fall down than pull yourself up, right? So we kind of we uncomplicate the complicated, and we are going to make sure that you're focusing on what works best for you. When is the best time for you to buy a house? When it works for you. And not being transactional is what has sustained us in the longevity of our careers, of our business, because we are experienced people creating experiences for them in their home buying, whether it's purchasing, refinancing, 5th house, 12th house, first house, which is always our favorite too, because we're a part of these milestone moments. And if someone is out there selling rate, you need to reevaluate that conversation, because we're here to educate you. There's a lot more that goes into a mortgage, as Lisa pointed out, than just the interest rate. It's our job to look at all the boxes, see what fits with you, talk about it with you, make that decision with you, and then we go on and so forth and make sure that we get you in line with agents so you come out successful and your offers win, because we're here to help you win. Help us help you win.
That's solid advice. And Jessica and Justin Woodbeck of Thrive Realty in Troy, Michigan, my producer director, Roberto Beauchene, he's telling me that we got to wrap it up. So I want to give you the last words of the day. Jessica and Justin Woodbeck, Thrive Realty in Troy, Michigan. Last words for February 8th, 2023.
Last words. All right. Well, I think if you're a realtor out there looking for a place to be and having full service, working aligned with partners like we're talking to right now that are education based and contribution based, get at us. We're on social media. You can find us on Google. And as far as buyers, sellers, and investors, just like Becky was saying, it's the right time if it's the right time for you. So you are among friends in educational process of finding out and helping you find the right time.
Yeah, I love your story, Jessica and Justin. We appreciate you having on the podcast. Becky, go ahead and wrap it up, because I think, well, who's on our show this weekend, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show?
Yeah, it's Super Bowl weekend. We're super pumped. We're going to be joined by Kurt Shewell. He is a coach extraordinaire. He's going to be bringing all the fire as he always does. I'm not sure who he's bringing in the studio with him, but it's never a dull moment when you're in there. I'll be lucky if I can get a word in myself, but I love that guy. He's good people. He's good energy. And I'm excited for the Super Bowl. Actually, I'm going to be like, I get to chill and not do anything on that day like everybody else.
Excellent. Well, listen, we appreciate everybody on. Lisa Lawson, Becky Alley, Jessica and Justin Woodbeck, Thrive Realty in Troy, Michigan. This has been the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast for February 8, 2023. Everybody, be careful out there. We really appreciate you. We're blessed to be doing what we do. Thanks a lot, everybody.